Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Moniz, I look forward to working with you once you're confirmed on a host of issues. I'm proud to say that Colorado, I believe, is a model of in its pursuit of true energy security. If you look across our state, we rely on renewables, wind and solar, to be specific. And we also have traditional fuel sources, as you know, like coal and natural gas. And I'd like to take my time, as Senator Alexander did, to focus on some overarching issues at DOE, but also on some Colorado-specific issues as well. You're familiar with the National Renewable Energy Lab, NREL, as we know it. It's a crown jewel. I was out at the wind test site just a few weeks ago and had the opportunity to climb up one of the turbines that's being used for research jointly by NREL and Siemens. And what I saw firsthand, besides incredible views, was a really impressive public-private partnership. Could you comment on your vision for those kinds of partnerships? How do you come at that, and how is DOE going to continue to support such partnerships?
Thank you, Senator Udall. I think first of all, I'm just an enormous fan of private-public partnerships. So I would be seeking, if confirmed, all kinds of ideas as to new ways of moving forward. I think at NREL, they have, in fact, I think, pioneered some ways of doing this, which is terrific. I would just, without being specific, because I don't have a specific at the moment, I think that that we should think about having ways of having regionally focused industry working with public or quasi-public sectors to focus on moving solutions that are regionally appropriate. Because again, this was raised earlier that the regional issues for solving our energy problems, I think, are very big, and we could probably do more with public-private in that context.
I look forward to working with you in that regard. I know you and I have a shared interest in small modular nuclear reactors, so-called SMRs. In fact, it's an area I think you know of strong bipartisan agreement on the committee. The ranking member, Senator Murkowski, and Senator Bingham, and the former chairman, worked over the past two Congresses to encourage DOE's work to accelerate our understanding of how we might use SMRs. Could you articulate your views on the viability of SMRs, and how do you see the current DOE program moving forward when you're confirmed?
I should say if confirmed.
I know you have to say if. I will say when.
Thank you. Well, again, I've also testified, I think, before the Appropriations Committee, excuse me, on SMRs. I think that it's a very promising direction that we need to pursue. I would say it's where the most innovation is going on in nuclear energy. I think the issue which remains to be seen and can be determined only when we, in fact, do it, is to what extent will the economics of manufacturing lower the costs relative to larger reactors. I think that could be, there's a great potential payout there, which goes on top of what are typically very attractive safety characteristics, for example, in the design of these reactors.
Let me move to climate change. I was pleased and enthused that Senator Wyden, Chairman Wyden, talked about climate change. It's happening in Colorado. We've had unprecedented droughts. We've had low snow years. We have a forest ecosystems that are being savaged by the bark beetle. We had enormous fires last year. I think it's time to act. I think there's great opportunity presenting itself to us in the context of national security, job creation, of course, the environmental benefits. So would you talk for remaining time about how a balanced energy portfolio can and could reduce carbon emissions and slow climate change? As I pointed out earlier, we're a state that's rich in both renewable and traditional energy resources. How do you see the development of both traditional and renewable resources reducing carbon emissions and curbing climate change? Easy question.
In 28 seconds. Well, again, I certainly agree that the scientific basis for warranting action is completely clear. There can be legitimate discussions about exactly what one does and at what pace, et cetera. What do we need to do? Well, it's as you said, go to a low carbon economy. that will include, as we've said in, I've been quoted, and many others have been quoted, for example, natural gas among traditional sources, as in this country being a bridge. And we are seeing that. We saw that with the EIA announcement yesterday in terms of the lowest CO2 emissions that we've had in quite some years in this country, with natural gas playing an important role in that. But assuming that we do go to a very low carbon economy at some point in the future, even natural gas will require capture, for example, as would coal, while we are also deploying the carbon-free initiative options of, well, for power, renewables, nuclear, and of course efficiency as an important part of that story, plus the hydrocarbons with carbon capture.
Thank you for that. Again, thank you for your willingness to serve. And I'd add one editorial comment, which I don't expect you to respond to, but I have great affection for my friend from West Virginia, and I looked with interest at the charts he presented. One of the things you have to take into account, however, is the external costs of using coal versus renewables versus natural gas, and the charts that he displayed did not include those external costs. I'll leave it there. Thank you again.